This is a coming out party here for Shaun George. Very possible. But again, I hasten to say, again, so far, Chris Byrd is still in there with a world of experience, and he's still fighting.
Yeah. You know, George is awesome, man. He's, he's got that jab going. That right hand's that straight right hand. He's looking. His eyes are wide open. He's looking to counter with that right hand. My problem with George is sometimes he doesn't let his hands go. He just waits a little bit too much.
Third round here, final minute, as Chris Byrd tries to get his feet solid underneath him. Finally gets in with a pawing left hand and finds the head and now eats a right hand. Yeah, George has put it all together, you can tell, in this fight. Determination, focus, on all the gifts that he has shown before as a professional. It's all coming together tonight. Looks great.
Brian, yesterday George told me at the weigh-in, he said, I'm ready. I'm coming in. I had great sparring. I sparred some world champions. I'm looking for a win.
You can tell there's a winning aura about a guy who's put it all together, has had a great camp.
He's got a great corner in Tommy Brooks. I'm sure a Hall of Fame trainer in the future.
Final seconds, third round, as Chris Byrd looks to come back.
Get this off his eye here.
Brian Kenny, Shannon Briggs here ringside in Las Vegas at the Cox Pavilion. Jane 80 sends Shaun George back into the corner.
There's way too much on his eye there.
Too much
okay.
The Vaseline up on his eyes.
A full 3 minutes.
And the 3 minutes are set back up. Chris Byrd, Shaun George, and it's been all Shaun George so far. Again, this is a coming out party for him, 29 years old, taking on a former two-time heavyweight titleist in Chris Byrd. Shannon, if you're in the corner, you're for Chris Byrd, what do you tell him? What would you tell him to get back in this fight?
What I would tell him, Brian, is, you know what, forget those rounds that just happened. That never happened. Just start putting rounds in the bank, you know. Start scoring. Don't look for a knockout. Don't look to try to make up for, for what happened in the past.
You see the 10-8 round. In the first round, there was a knockdown by George. George hurt Byrd first and then put him down. In the corner for Shaun George, Tommy Brooks was saying, hey, don't look for a KO. It's going to happen.
Exactly.
Try to tell him calmly, look, you know that jab we used with Jirov, that's Vasily Jirov, former cruiserweight champion. He said, look, just use that jab you used with Jirov, and you can't miss him. And so far, that right hand, has been like a magnet on Chris Byrd's head.
Yeah, he's hit home with it every time.
Again, you've seen in the heavyweight ranks a deterioration of Byrd's skills, but again, when you're fighting Vladimir Klitschko, you have to, you can't look at it like he's fighting a normal human. You're talking about 6'5", 250-pound, smooth fighting machine.
Right. Well, like Antonio said earlier, did those fights take a lot out of Chris? That's what we have to look at now and wonder.
The fight against Povetkin was a little discouraging, really, where Byrd's corner threw in the towel, and he really wasn't taking a bad beating, but they didn't like the headshots he was taking. So, again, the energy is waning on Chris Byrd. We've seen it, and he had certainly hoped that by going way down, bypassing cruiserweight at 200 pounds and going to 175, he'd have an easier time.
Right.
But he may have just picked the wrong guy. Shaun George, no joke.
Yeah, this guy's serious. He's taking full advantage of this night, being picked as an opponent, and he's looking to get out of here with a win and beat one of those top guys in the light heavyweight division, which is a great division, by the way.
All those top names in there. Again, we have Antonio Tarver in the studio with Robert Flores. We mentioned Roy Jones before. Roy Jones is still in the mix. Certainly, he's not a prime Roy Jones, where, one of the best fighters I've ever seen in my life. Glenn Johnson barely lost to Chad Dawson. Chad Dawson is here. Bernard Hopkins hasn't retired yet. I mean, there's all top names, but will Chris Byrd be able to capitalize by being in that mix? So far, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, what Chris needs to do right now is let his hands go. Look for points. That was the great Chris Byrd coming up as a heavyweight. He would throw a lot of punches and bunches. He needs to let his hands go, look for combinations and not one punch. Right now, he should be letting his jab go, tap, 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 drop, let his hands go. But he's waiting, he's looking for a big shot.
Byrd having a little more success here, rounds 3 and then round 4. It's still a tough go as Shaun George in control. Chris Byrd, Shaun George, round 5, scheduled for 10. Chris Byrd has been in there with the biggest and the best of the heavyweights, both Klitschko brothers, Evander Holyfield, Freza Kendo, David Tua, Ike Ibeabuchi in his prime, Shannon. I mean, he went after big guys and got wins against a lot of those big guys. But you wonder now, what's left. And you wonder if the starch is just out of him at this point. At 175, has not looked crisp so far in this fight. Let's bring in a former light heavyweight champion of the world, Antonio Tarver. Magic Man, what do you see so far? What are your thoughts?
I'm very impressed with Shaun George. He's letting his hands go. He's hitting them with straight shots. But right now, if he really want to make a big name for himself in the light heavyweight division, he should finish Chris Byrd. And with Chris Byrd, I see he has the same style. The sharpness is gone. He's not as crisp as we're used to seeing him. And, you can tell that the weight has definitely drained him somewhat. He don't have the punching power, and as long as he stays in there, he'll be dangerous. So I'm looking for Shaun to get him out of there in the next 2 or 3 rounds.
You're not surprised, are you? I heard you talking about it before. And I guess your expectations are being met here, right, Antonio?
Yeah, it's sad for Chris Byrd because I know he's a better fighter than this, but you can only take your body through so much. And he's been in a lot of tough fights with those big guys, taking a lot of punishment, and this is the telltale. But Shaun needs to finish the job. If he want to make a big name for himself, like I said, in the light heavyweight division, he needs to knock Byrd out right now.
All right, Antonio, thank you. Great job in the studio as always. Antonio Tarver, light heavyweight champion. Again, man who knocked out Roy Jones Jr. with 1 shot, ended the Roy Jones era in the light heavyweight division, then lost his title in a great fight to Glenn Koff Johnson, but that won it back. And those guys are still around, which is good news for fight fans.
Yeah, great division. Reminds me of the 70s and 80s.
You saw while we were talking to Antonio, Byrd eat a big right hand. And now you see the comfort level for George is growing.
Chris is getting hit right now because he's not really, establishing the fact that he has a jab. He needs to be jabbing, looking to score points, and looking to run a combination. It's not for a knockout. He's trying to catch up. He's trying to make up for what already happened. He can't do that. It's already in the bank. Right now, he just needs to get points and hopefully discourage this guy. That's what Chris needs to do, really discourage this guy.
You wonder if he can do it. You wonder, too, he was fighting big guys, making them look slow. There's no way he's going to make Shaun George look slow.
Not at all. He doesn't have the head movement he used to have, the elusiveness, but he's still, Chris Byrd, he has that hand out, but he just, like you said, that starch, Brian, is not there.
We're through 5 here in Las Vegas. Shaun George in charge. Back ringside, Brian Kenny and Shannon Briggs. Shannon, I'm just looking at you here. Not as svelte as you sometimes are,
yeah,
but I'm wondering,
nice.
Could you get down to 175 and maybe make a run at all these great names?
Nah, I couldn't have it. I doubt it. But there's a couple of reasons I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yes, the top 5 reasons for Shannon Briggs not fighting at light heavyweight. Give them to us.
Number 5, my friend Leonard's home fried chicken. Number 4, I would have to actually train. Number 3, too many guys know how to fight down there. Number 2, I'm cheap. I don't want to buy new underwear. And number 1, I just renewed my Krispy Kreme donut cards.
Well done, Shannon. Well, you're an all-around performer. You can fight K1. You knocked out Sergey Lehovich for one of the heavyweight belts. You were in Transporter 2. You have a new movie coming out, right?
Yes, sir. The Whackness with Ben Kingsley.
Excellent. Of course, we have Antonio Tarver in the studio, who's in Rocky Balboa. And here in the main event, Chris Byrd and Shaun George. Chris Byrd, at the age of 37, coming down to 175. And getting whacked around by a 29-year-old Shaun George, who looks like he has finally put it all together. George, actually, very good amateur career as well. He's been a national champion. It's just that in comparison to Chris Byrd and being a 3-time national champion and an Olympic silver medalist, it doesn't look as good, but he's got a solid amateur background as well.
Yeah, and this guy has a future. He's tough. First of all, let's start with, he's a Brooklyn guy like myself. So, BK all day. He's a tough guy. He's really representing Brooklyn in best style right now, showing a lot of courage, a lot of heart. He's looking to steal the show.
BK all day, huh?
BK all day. Anytime. As long as you keep doing my ties.
I can't believe they made you put on a tie. Really, Shannon Briggs in a tie. Because you're a stylish guy. But you're not dressed as a banker very often.
Nah, I'm silly.
Byrd trying to get back into this fight. He's just going to have to get more active. Because George is a good counterpuncher. Again, he's measured. He provides a small target, too, the way he turns his body completely.
Yeah, he has that shoulder block.
Yeah.
That, if you want to call it, that Floyd Mayweather style.